Hey everyone, alright, this is going to be another squat technique video. Showing this is just from a session that we did earlier today. This was about like a 40-minute difference. Say taking someone through of like a kind of traditional bodybuilding type squat and the common errors that I'll usually see in these when bodybuilders do squat, and then we changed it to be a little bit more efficient, which is going to allow Michael here to eventually lift more load over time. So, first off, let's start with the things that he was doing. So, first off, you can see his head's kind of looking straight ahead with his eyes, right? He likes to, so Michael, his normal stance, he kind of has this kind of sway back, and that's just kind of like his default position. But this is common, a common pattern that I see in like a bodybuilder type squat. So they do more of a higher bar, they look straight ahead, they lead by the chest, and when they lead by the chest and looking straight up, they've got this kind of banana back type squat. Also, we can see the wrist, how they're kind of cocked back like this. Doesn't really have any much tightness at the back. You can kind of see the upper back kind of collapses a little bit when he gets down the bottom. What else? And then also in his position, because he's kind of this bent back, it does this anterior tipping of the pelvis, which usually restricts someone's depth. To give you an understanding of that, I'll just quickly give you a demo of me. So when they do kind of squatting with the bum back like this, and then trying to squat like this, it's very hard to hit depth because the pelvis is tipped this way, and then when you come down, it puts a lot of strain on your back, and literally like oh my god, I'm really trying to put myself down. I can't get any deeper than this. You can see I'm not even parallel. So then if I kind of let this loose, sit back, I can squat my butt to the floor. So training the pelvis from here and kind of bring it a bit more neutral. So that's what I meant by Michael here struggling to hit depth because of that bendy back position he does. So that was his the very first squat that we did. And then I'll show you the little cues that we went through over the set. So for this first set, what I first told him, I said, okay, we're gonna put your thumbs over the bar now. So he was grabbing the thumb under. Put your thumbs over the bar so your wrists are a bit more neutral. They weren't perfectly neutral, but I get to that in a sec. With his eyes, I told him pick a point on the floor and look down towards the floor, so you can see he's not looking up anymore. Also at the start, I was telling him to bring his feet. It was quite wide. Probably gonna struggle hitting depth as well. I said bring your feet in a little bit, turn your toes out about 45 degrees, you can see him changing there. Keep your head down, look at that spot. And then what I was trying to say with this, which you go for more, I said do less with your back here. So he was really arching, okay, so I was saying do less with your back. And then over time, it gets better as the video's gone. But you can see he started, the first few reps he was arching hard. This one he flattens it a little bit, then he arches a bit. But it was more just getting the general concept there. Alright. But you can see that when he was a little bit closer with his feet, not arching as much, he gets a little bit easier to hit depth now. So he's actually getting at parallel, slightly under parallel sometimes, depending on how much he arches. But it freed it up a little bit. But we'll see how it gets better as it goes on. So that was the first cues that we focused on. The next one, I said put the bar on a bit lower down your back. So on the last one, the bar was still quite high up his neck. Put the bar a little bit lower down your back. Keep looking down. I said, okay, so with the last one, his chest was still quite high. Alright, so I said, try to lean a little bit more with your chest and relax this back. So you can see it's a little bit more flat here. He's arching a little bit less. This is something that's going to take him time to master. But not arching as much there. Sorry, my computer's having a heart attack. You can see that back is a little bit more flat. Chest is... You can see the angle of his chest now. The chest is more down here. In the last video, if you notice, his chest was more kind of facing upwards. So here, I was like, lean over a little bit more so you're not doing as much here. So you can see he's pretty flat here. Alright, this is already a better position. So if we compare that position there relative to this position here, let's see one. You can see already the change in position, right? Looking up, chest is high, and even the depth, like you can see that he's hitting more depth here. It's easier to hit depth. He's still not all the way down, but I wasn't worrying about that yet. But more so I'm getting at that angle of the trunk where I said lean over a little bit more. Let the trunk go forward. Don't work so hard with keeping that chest up. So that is what we were working on this set. Keep that chest a little bit more down and keep do less with the back. So that was that one. And then the next one, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, on this one, so he's got the bar still low, palms are a little more over the bar. Now in this, between the last set to this one, we were going on about taking a breath. So I told him to breathe and brace in that stomach. So when he comes out, big breath, you can see that his stomach is expanding because we wanted some bracing in this midsection, because in those last ones he was a little bit loose. Even though the his trunk was a bit more relaxed, it was kind of a bit like floppy. Alright, and that's just because he just wasn't taking that big breath of air and bracing in that midsection between his repetitions. So with this one, taking in that big breath of air so we can kind of keep a bit more stability in this midsection. And I think that's the only thing we worked on this set actually, was just the breathing and bracing again to keep that trunk in a solid position. He's still leaning with his chest a little bit. You can see when he takes in a breath, he kind of rises his chest. You can see that, and then he goes into that kind of banana back position, which we end up fixing a little bit as the reps go on. Like, because Michael has been squatting like this for so long with this high chest, it's going to take him a few sessions of him just squatting on his own to work out, you know, don't squat like this and go more down. More so the aim of like this session is to pick out what errors he is making, let him feel when he's doing a wrong error, and then how it feels when you correct it, and then also with those errors, giving him corrections to those errors so he knows what to do when he feels he is making an error. So for the next one, okay, now with this, because we said that in this last one, at the start of this video, I said he was leading with his chest. So when he was squatting up, he would lead with his chest, and he's not doing too much with his hips. So with this, I told him that with the top of his hips here, feel like that he's driving with his hips rather than with his chest. And you can see that, I told him to sit his hips back, and you can see that he's driving with his hips a little bit more, because when he drives with his hips, sometimes his chest falls forward, so his hips will rise first, and this kind of chest will fall forward a little bit. These ones are actually not too bad. Sometimes you'll see him do the error, like that one. Watch that. You'll see this fall in the trunk. Oh, if my computer stops being shit. Fall in the trunk, and then the hip shooter. But basically, it was that the purpose of this one was to drive with the hips. My computer is being really, really bad. It's really annoying me. But anyway, you can still make out what he's doing. But you can see the good thing he's doing on this, not arching with the back so much. So he's doing a little bit less with his back. Sometimes he arches. That one was a little bit arched, but sometimes he gets it right. I don't expect him to get it right this first time. Again, it was just to get the general movement pattern going. So yeah, that set was to more teaching him to drive with the hips, do not lead with the chest. Next one. Okay. For this next one, I was saying now, when you got your hands over a bar, in this, so this setup, when you're starting before you come down to the squat, you're doing two things. One, you're taking a big breath of air to build tension, or to build tension in this midsection. Two, you're going to pull down on the bar, so then the upper back gets tight. We watched the very first video. He wasn't very tight when he came down. The upper back was rounding a little bit. He's been doing it in the previous one, so I was like, okay, before this one, in the setup, pull the bar down between each rep, so you get that upper back tightness. You can see his wrist is in a little bit of a better position here. It's not cocked back, and that's another thing. So when you're pulling down on the bar, less likelihood to start losing the bar, and the bar starts falling down your back. That's another reason why I like to pull down on the bar, so we don't get any of that bar movement. So, and that's what you see. I tap him on the back as well. So I said, pull down on the bar, get that upper back tight, which he did, and you can see that bar on his back looks much more sturdy. I don't think he's not getting a whole lot of upper back rounding when he is doing this. And again, really focusing on letting that chest relax. Don't arch, don't lead with the chest, and keep driving with the hips. So he's not doing too bad on this one. Getting better, he's working it out. But he's staying quite braced. That upper back is braced, that midsection is braced, and again, that chest, that arch in his back is kind of starting to relax a little bit more. Not too bad. And then for the very last one, we'll skip that. Now these next two ones, I just said that. So all those cues that we were kind of working on, keeping the chest down, driving with the hips, taking the breath, pulling on the bar. We were like, okay, let's put all that together now and practice it. And then this was the very, very last one that we did. And again, not too bad. It's a little bit more consistent now. His upper back is a lot more braced. This bar position here is great. His arm position, see his elbow's a little bit higher up now. His palms are more over the bar. Sitting back, driving with the hips, not arching the back so much. So this squat is pretty good. he still, you know, still makes a little bit of mistakes. Sometimes arches the back a little bit. But in saying that, it is not that bad. He's got the general movement pattern there. Again, as I said, he knows what errors he is making. He can feel when he makes an error, and then he knows the correction when to make that to fix the error. The main problem that Michael will make, as I keep saying, is that leading with the chest and arching with the back instead of driving with the hips. So that's the main thing that he'll be working on in this squat. So hopefully that gave some help to you guys who might make similar errors to what Michael does of kind of leading with the chest and not driving with the hips, looking down towards the floor and making sure there is bracing of the upper back and in that midsection.